What's going on, guys? Welcome back to ItsDjLee TV, and I just want to get into Pro Tools 2023 12.1. There's been a lot of new updates as opposed to our last version of Pro Tools, and I want to show you guys how that's going to affect your workflow. So whether you're a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced user, this video is going to be pretty good for you. Now, if you don't have Pro Tools, go to avid.com, create an account pretty much, and go ahead and figure out what type of Pro Tools you want to use. And once you download Pro Tools, it's going to give you the Avid link. The Avid link looks just like this. With the Avid link, you can update your plugins, you can download some cool bundles, you can update your Pro Tools. This is the new HQ for Avid Pro Tools. All right, you don't have to keep going to the website anymore. They give you the link right there, and everything funnels through that. Once you get Pro Tools, you will be greeted by this screen that says this, and this is brand new. There was never a sessions window and a sketch window. All right, so the session window is your regular create a project, record, edit, and mix. The other window is a sketch window. With this sketch window, you could pretty much plan out or map out musical ideas, and you could take this on the road or whatever you want to do with that. I'm not sure if you can actually create music yet because it doesn't make much sense. It's really like blocks. This is more like a machine type of thing, or any type of plugin where you're just mapping things out. If you go to your session, you have your regular startup anyway, and you can either make a new project. You can use a recent project. You could use cloud projects, or you could just watch a few videos on how to get started. Now, this video is going to cover everything that you need to get going with your process. All right. First and foremost, we have your local storage. That's where you want to have it clicked. All right. You want to name this track something. We'll name this one Pro Tools Intro. Pro Tools Intro. And with that being said, we're not going to create from a template. I'm going to explain a little bit later what a template is, but we're not going to use a template. Down here, you want to choose your file type. You have your bit waveform, which is pretty much your wave. You have your sample rate. You have your bit depth, and you have your in and out settings. I use my last in and out settings. I use a sample rate of 44.1. Either 44.1 or 48 is good for making music if you're making music. I use a bit depth of 24. 16 and 24 are the most popular. And right here, you want to use your location that you set up so that you're able to find your projects. All right, so your location, click location, and it's going to bring you to your file window. Go ahead and you can just choose what you want to set up as your location for where you want to start. All right, once you do that, go ahead and click create. If there's a project already saved at that title, it will say that it's already a project underneath that title. The next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and you want to actually, let me just close some of these windows. All right, options. This right here is our transport window. This right here is our mix window. You can see mix at the top. And if I hit command equals, this will bring us to our most famous, the most popular edit window. All three of these windows are used pretty much a lot. I'm going to just drag some of this space over. All right. Now, what you're going to use and you're going to see in Pro Tools every time you open Pro Tools is a few different things. Right now, we don't need this transport window, so we're going to get rid of it. All right, give me 1 second, guys. All right, and I'm back. And once you open up Pro Tools, you're going to see this window. And with this window, there's a few different things that you want to, off the rip, understand where they are. That's first and foremost. At the top, your Pro Tools settings. When you go into here, you're going to see a lot of different things that you don't have to worry about these. These you will not be needing anytime soon. Your setup should be fundamental. All you want to know is your input and output. So we're going to go to setup, input, output, and you're going to see what you have. Output 1 and 2. All right, input 1 and 2, and you should be set up. Hit OK. Next, you want to go to your options. Your setup. Go to playback engine. And right here, you're going to figure out how you're going to hear your sound and hear your audio. If you're using a microphone to record any type of audio, if you're using a condenser mic, you're going to have an interface. All right. An interface pretty much takes our actual dynamic vocals and turns it into electrical signals, which is pretty much ones and zeros. And it's pretty much computer language, ones and zeros. And we can't hear our voice through the computer unless it converts it through that way. So that's what the interface is for. If you have a condenser microphone, you're going to see a 48V on that interface because you need 48 volts of phantom power to charge that signal so you can actually make use of that microphone. Without 48 volts of phantom power on your interface, a condenser microphone is useless. So I have a Scarlett Solo USB, and you're going to see it right here because that's what's clicked. I use that right now. Now, if I were to go right here, and it would normally say MacBook Pro speakers, that's what it would start up as. You would see this pop up saying that it pretty much wants to confirm you want to change what your input and output is, and are you sure you want to do that? And I'm 100% sure I want to do that. So what you're going to do is I'm going to hit OK. All right, just going to close that window so you guys can see. And this is going to pop up as a brand new window, and now my output is now my MacBook speakers. But I don't need my MacBook speakers. I want my output to be what it just was. I just wanted to show you guys. So let's go ahead and click Scarlett Solo one more time. Yes. All right. Also, if you ever need to change your buffer size, it's right here as well. So once this opens back up, what I like to do is I like to go ahead and I like to go to the top. All right. And I'm going to show you guys what we're doing. Normally, every time I get a new session, I go to new. I go to track. I go to new. And I go to this window. This is a new track window. And what this does is it helps me to create new tracks. The first track I always create is a master bus or a master track. I create one. You see the number right here. This is going to be in stereo. The master bus is always in stereo. This is going to be, you could choose mono, stereo, all these different things right here. These are more for surround sound. Right here, these are your different folders or types of tracks. Aux, master, VCAs, MIDI, instrument. We're going to create a master fader. Recording and samples, of course, and master. Boom, that's the name of the track, create. And as you can see, it created that track right there. If I hit Command equals, our mix window shows us the same track that was just created. All right, I'm just going to drag this down a little bit so you guys can see the bottom a little bit more. All right, hopefully you guys can see that. And if I take a look right now on the other page, I want to show you guys the most important thing about this page. On this page, you have a few different things you can do. The first and foremost, the most important thing I do when I get to this page is I change the BPM to what I need the session to be at once I create my master track. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag in some audio because I use Splice. That's where I get a lot of royalty-free samples and sounds. And if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and check that out. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Pro Tools, pretty much, you could drop any audio in there for the most part. And I'm going to drop this one right here. This one. Now, check this out. With Splice, it shows you the BPM. It shows you the key. Shows you how long the sample is. And once you download it, just drop it in there. And I'm going to bring it right to the beginning. Now, like I said, you can see the BPM. If I zoom in by pressing Command in the right bracket or Command in the left bracket, that zooms out. So right for in, left for out, with hold down Command at the same time. You can see right here the BPM of this track. And you can see the key, E minor, 142 BPM. What I need to do is I need to change the tempo of the project to match that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change that to 140. Now, very important, if I have this right here clicked, it's going to change the BPM wherever this is clicked. So if it's changed right now to 142, that would be wrong because now it starts off at 120, but once it gets to bar number 7, it changes to 142 BPM. All right. Now, if you don't know how to read these Pro Tools meters, at the top, these are your bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way across. Then you have your time, 0, 1, 2, 3 is your seconds. Then you have time code, you have samples, you have your meter. All right, cool, different things. Now, I'm going to hit enter twice or return twice, whatever you're using, a MacBook or a Microsoft computer. And now I'm at the beginning, so I'm going to change that to 142 BPM. The cool thing about Pro Tools, once you do open that tempo meter, you can see tempo right here. You could also just press T when the song is playing and tap the tempo. The faster you tap, the quicker it goes. The slower you tap, the slower it goes. All right. Going back to our home window, you can click on your sample and it's going to highlight. Anytime anything is highlighted and you press space, that's going to play or stop your recording or play and stop your track. So if I hit space, it's going to play this and it's going to loop. As long as it's recorded, it's going to loop. As long as it's highlighted, I'm sorry, guys. So what I'm going to do next, right, is I'm going to actually stop this and I'm going to highlight just this area right here. And it's going to just loop that one specific spot right there over and over and over again. All right. Now, coming back to the screen right here, I want to take you guys to the top of the screen. But before we do that, I want to show you guys right here where you can change the amount of input or gain on your actual inputted sample. All right. Now, like I said, I want to take you guys to the top of the screen real quick and show you guys exactly what it is we're looking at. First and foremost, if I zoom back in, you can see that we're working with a grid. This is our grid. This is our grid. Ruler. All right. I'll call it the ruler. And when you have the grid highlighted, it's using the grid. When it's not, it's not. If I click right here, you could change what you're seeing. All right. The last number is how many boxes you will see in each measure. All right. A measure is a bar. So from 1 to 2, that's a measure. All right. So you see 2 boxes, 1, 2, and 1 measure. 1 measure equals 2 boxes, 2 rectangles. And if anybody that knows music, that's pretty much half notes right there. All right. Quarter notes is 4/1/4, eighth notes 1/8, and so on and so on. If I click on 4, you'll see 4 before it hits the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're at 2. If I go to 8, 16, it's gonna be 16 before it gets to 2. And that's how that works. So when that grid mode is on, it's gonna be highlighted right here. And anytime I move this, it's gonna snap to that specific spot on the grid. All right. So before we do that, I want to explain to you guys how to move things. Right here, we have a few tools. We have a grabber tool right here. Anytime the hand is highlighted, you can slide over like this and you can move anything that you grab. All right. We have the next tool right here. And this is called our selector tool. All right. With the selector tool, it's pretty cool what you can do. The selector tool allows you to grab parts of the track. All right. Highlight it, delete it. All right. Bring it back by hitting Command Z. If you ever want to undo something, hit Command Z. If you want to redo it, hit Shift Command Z. All right. Now, like I was saying, you can do that, but you can only do that with whatever one is highlighted. That's what you can do. All right. Last but not least, we have our last one, our trimmer. And when that's highlighted, you could grab the end of a track and you can move it. Grab the end of a track and move it. All right. And since I just showed you guys how to move the BPM, another cool thing we can do is we can also, I'm going to show you one more cool thing called time compression expansion. All right. This is the trim tool. If you right click, you will see TCE. What that means is I can take, say I want to say this sample is going too fast and I want to slow down this sample to like 138. I go ahead and I just take a look at what the last measure was when it was at 142. It was bar number 9 is where this ended. So if I go to 138, that's the new grid. You see the grid? It changed. So now while I'm on time compression expansion, I grab the end of that and I pull it over to that 9, and now it's synced up with that tempo. So that's the cool thing about Pro Tools that you can do is your time compression expansion, and you want to undo that. All right, right click, go to standard. All right, I'm gonna Command Z, bring that back to our regular session. And next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys this right here on the side. But before we do that, like I said, you have these 3 tools. If you want to use all 3 at the same time, there's a little box to select all 3, 1, 2, 3, or all 3 at the top, and you can get all 3. Let's zoom in. With all 3, you have the option of dragging, the option of highlighting, and you have the option of grabbing. All right. You can go to the corner. You can create fades by dragging it. And that's pretty cool because you're going to need that, all 3 of those, if you're using Pro Tools. And I expect you're using Pro Tools if you're here watching this video. I just want to shout you guys out real quick. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment if I missed something or you don't understand something. I can definitely put you guys on and explain it to you more in depth whenever you get a chance. All right. All right. Hopstar Lifestyle Virtual Tour is going on right now. Check that out. All right. Back to Pro Tools. In this top left corner, you have a grid, which is the same thing I just showed you right here. All right. It's going to say grid mode. It's going to say relative or regular, absolute. All right. Right here, you have a slip mode. With the slip mode, it's kind of different. With the slip mode, if you're on grid mode, it goes and it snaps to the next bar. All right. If you're on slip mode, you could go in between those spots wherever you want and place things. All right. If you're on shuffle mode, that means that anything you drop into Pro Tools, no matter where you drop it, it will be nudged to the beginning or whatever is to the end of whatever's in front of it. If I drop it right there, it's gonna nudge to right there. You see what I'm saying? If I drop another one, if I move it to this track right here, it's gonna bring it to the beginning of that track. You see what I'm saying? It always brings it all the way to the left. I'm going to get rid of this track. Better yet, I'm gonna hide this track. So I'm gonna click this arrow right here so I can show you guys. Anything you bring into Pro Tools, every track gets created and it's being put right here. If I go to Command equals, it brings me back to my mix window. It shows you all three of those tracks once again. All right. So if I click on any of these boxes, it gets rid of a track. If I click on them, it brings them back. I can click right here and I can hide and make a track inactive. And now it's over here on the side, disappeared, and it's inactive. All of its plugins, everything that has to do with that track is inactive. If I want to make any of these boxes right here, any of these track viewers bigger, these arrows right here can help me do that. I can bring it to extreme. I can bring it to micro, mini, or I could keep it on where it was just at where it was just at. Or I could just drag it too. There's a lot of cool things we could do. All right, let's just Command Z. I'm gonna get rid of this track because I'm not sure what it just did. I don't need the confusion right now to confuse you guys. Now, if I want to make a new track again, whatever's highlighted, that's where it's going to create that track right underneath it. So to do it in a quicker way, I hit Command, Shift, and N. That makes this window pop up quicker. If you're doing Pro Tools, there's a few shortcuts you want to make sure you remember. That is definitely one of them. All right, create that track once again and bring this up here. Now with the master track, the master bus, this all your sounds will play finally through this track. Everything is routed to that track. No matter what you have up there, it's going to be routed to that track. All right, so we have a new track, grid mode, 142 BPM. We have a audio file in stereo mode inputted. If you look right here, you have a volume of that track, and you have a pan where you could pan this track left or right. All right, 100 degrees, all the way to the same side or opposite sides. Think of your stereo image, pretty much how to make this sound like you're in a 3D room. You want the track to surround you. All right. If you look right here by pressing Command equals, it's the same thing on this side. You're given inserts A through E and inserts F through J. And that's pretty much your plugins. All right. You get 10 of them. Then you have sends A through E and sends F through J. These are your bus sends. We'll talk about busing in a little bit. Command equals bring us back to that other screen. I want to take a look at, let's go to options and go to low latency monitoring. Low latency monitoring is very important because when you do low latency monitoring and we're talking about inserts and sends, if this is checked, that means that you will not hear any type of feedback in your headphones while you're recording or talking on the microphone or anything like that. That's low latency monitoring. All right, just remember that. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. All right. Now, another thing is edit window scrolling. From here, I don't like my window to move without my permission, so I keep it off. But you can have it to move along with what you have going on. So if I hit continuous and I hit this, it's gonna move with the song. I don't really need it moving with the song, so I keep it off. Like I said, it just makes more problems for me. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that back off. Next thing I want to show you guys is we have a transport window like I showed you guys before. And you go up here to window, you go to transport. You're gonna be able to see what you have going on. So if I have right here highlighted and I want to record from here to here, you have the option to pretty much put a pre-roll in. And what that does is where this flag is, you could change it by using your hand, or you can come right here and change it by just clicking it and scroll and going up or down. That's how much of the song is going to play before your recording stops. So if the arrow's back here, wherever the arrow is, that's where it's going to play from before it starts recording. So let's just bring that somewhere nice. Let's bring it right here. Hit record on this track. And since I have no audio track, I have to get an audio track. So let's go ahead and hit Command, Shift, and N. And we're going to hit audio track, a mono audio track, 1 mono audio track, and samples, audio, VOX for vocals. Hit create. I'm going to also create a Command, Shift, N, a mono aux track. All right. I don't use aux tracks anymore, but just for the sake, I want you guys to understand how to hear your own voice. If you want to hear your voice with an effect on it, or if you're ever doing a live entertainment and you want to have your voice running through an aux track, this is very important for people that are moving like that. All right. If I hit no input and go to input 1, you're going to see my voice start to show now, because now it's picking up my input from the interface. If I hit no input, it will be no input. Now the output is routing itself to output 1 and 2, which is the same as the output for the master track. So these go to the master track goes to output 1 and 2. All right. Now if I go up here to setup, go to ins and outs, you will see the outputs we talked about previously. So now we have our aux track, our audio track. If we click on this record button, you will see my vocals come in. As long as the input where my microphone is plugged in, which is the input 1 of the interface, you see that. All right. Now, like I said, record mode on that track is on. It must be on at the top as well. All right. We have right here highlighted. This is where I want to start recording. So the arrow is on a 1 second and 1 second pre-roll. And I'm going to give it a post-roll as well. So that means that it's going to start. It's going to keep going at the end as well. All right. So right here is a pre-roll. So it keeps recording a little bit after. So now if I hit play, it plays and I starts recording right here. All right. So you can see that it built up just like that. All right. The next thing I want to do is show you guys what loop record is. All right. So I'm going to highlight this area. I'm going to highlight one bar right here. And I'm going to hit record and record. If I want to record just this one spot right here, I hit record, and it's going to keep looping that one spot over and over. And as it loops that one spot over, what it's doing is it's comping that vocal. And now this vocal is going down to a comp, and it's going down to a playlist. What a playlist is it's a folder of all of the takes you've done. So I could take this song. Let's just undo that, go back to waveform. I could take this, click it, right click it, go to move to new playlist. When I go to that playlist, you can see that all of the other takes that every time it went like this and then looped back to the beginning and started recording again, they saved it right here. So that's called comping your vocals. Now, every artist nowadays, they don't record their vocals straight through. They actually comp their vocals. Some artists one word at a time. Other artists, they can do about a few sentences, but no artist is really going one take all the way through. A lot of them will be lying to you if they are doing that. All right. Now, when I get to this window, I can go ahead and I could zoom in on what I have. And if I like this part of this vocal, I could highlight it, listen to it. I'll mute this so you can just hear the vocal and we could hear it. All right. And if I like that out of all of them, the best, I could take it. All right. And I could just pull it to the front. I could just press this arrow, so I'm gonna bring it right to the top. Now I can go to the next part where I have the next verse and same thing. And if I like the way that sounds, bring it to the top. And that's called comping your vocals to create the best vocal you have. All right. Now to hit command equals, let's go back to our waveform. Command equals. I want to show you that every track we created has also been created on this page right here. On this page, you can also change the colors of your tracks to color code them by just double clicking on the colors down here. All right. You can choose which tracks. And it's very important that when you do this, that you have great workflow and great organization skills. Looking right here, we have automation. You can these are your controls for automation controls. If you have any type of mix board that reads automation, that's what this is about. Now I want to show you guys a little bit about automation. If you ever walked into a studio and you've seen the keyboard, the mix board moving by itself like there's ghosts in the room, that's automation. What automation pretty much is sending audio to a certain I want to say to a certain place for a certain amount of time, then having it come back. Do you understand? That's what automation is. You don't want to have a permanent effect. You want to have a small effect for a certain amount of time, and then you want to drop back off. So like I said, we have a new project at a 142 BPM. With Pro Tools, sometimes it may crash. So what I like to do is I like to save this project. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna hit Command S, that saves it instantaneously. Or I could go ahead and go to File, hit Save Session As, and say I like this version, and let's say I want to actually do something where I double this up and I make 2 more of these. Let's say 3 more. All right. And let's say that I want to just record vocals up to bar number 9 or bar number 8 at the end of bar 8 up to 9. I want to go up here and I want to make a marker. I want to organize this track a little bit. I know that right here I want to create a verse. So let's go ahead and type in verse. It's going to give me it's going to give me a marker right here to put just by going where it says marker, hitting plus wherever it's highlighted. That's going to create that just like that. Let's go right here and the same thing at bar number 33. And let's say I want to create a hook right here. All right. Marker. We call this one the hook. All right. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to save that. Now check this out. If I zoom out, Command left bracket, you can see my song taking shape a little bit. Now this is uneven. This is 8 bars of pretty much intro. Then it's what, 8, 16, almost 24 bars of rapping. That's wrong. Let's drop that down and get a 16 bar rap. And let's bring this down to right here by just dragging it. Very simple. All right. Next thing I want to do is I like this. I like what I have right here. And what I want to do is I want to hit File. I want to save as. We're going to save this as Pro Tools intro. Let's say version 2. And now we have a new take to play around with. All right. So now if we go to File, we go to Open Recent, you have Pro Tools, the first one we did. And then we have Pro Tools intro version 2. Very, very simple, very fundamental. Learn these simple fundamentals and you'll be able to take Pro Tools out of the waters. I stick with Pro Tools because Pro Tools is very, very, very well known, and Pro Tools is the industry standard. If you go to any known studio or anybody that's working professionally, they'll tell you, can you bust it out and I'm gonna put it into Pro Tools and do this with it. They're gonna tell you straight up like that. They're not gonna say I'm bringing this to Fruity Loops. They're not doing that. They're gonna put it into Pro Tools and they're gonna work on your project. All right. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to take a look at how our plugins work. With plugins, very simple. Pro Tools comes with a few different plugins: EQ, compressor, reverb, delay, a few things like that. You want to go to your inserts A through E. You could do it here or you could do it here. I'll do it here for this one. This is track. The track that has the sound, let's play it. It's recorded in stereo. All right. Right here is your pans. You could pan left and right. We have 2 mono tracks where we could pan right or left. Mono and stereo are very different. Stereo is only for piano, guitar. All right. And pretty much your sends, your aux buses that are stereo. Your mono buses are pretty much for everything else, especially vocals. Vocals are always going to be mono. Your drums are usually going to be mono. If you're recording maybe a drum set live recording, that could be stereo, but it's more to that than just recording it stereo. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to our track that has the sound, insert F through J. We'll scroll over to the top, go to our first insert. It's very important when you're using your inserts. You want to go in alphabetical order because the higher it, the earlier it is in the alphabet, say it's at A, that's how the track is going to read it. So if I put an EQ on track on insert A and I put a compressor on on insert F, it's going to read the A first. If I do it vice versa, it's going to read the compressor first. If it's whatever's on A gets read first. All right, so you want to make sure you have it in order of how you want it to be read. All right, let's go and let's create an EQ on this track right here. Another thing I want to do also, since this is a great setup, I'm going to create a template. I'm going to go to File and create a template. Save as template, because I can use this as like a Pro Tools, or not even a Pro Tools intro, but like a YouTube intro. This sound right here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Save as Template, and I'm going to go to YouTube as one of the folders I have. I can create a new folder, all right, by going to Add Category, and I can name this one Tutorial. Let me name it Tutorial. And I'm going to name this Pro Tools Intro New. All right. Intro. I'll do Intro Tutorial. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit include media, which is what I have in here. Hit OK. And that's going to save that as a new session template. If I go to file, open up a new project, and I come right here to create from template, I go right here to template group, YouTube. You're going to see the YouTube, I'm sorry, not YouTube, tutorial. You're going to see the Pro Tools intro tutorial. I would just hit create, and it would create that session. All right, but it's already open, so no need to. We're going to go ahead and we're going to come right here to input, insert A. We're going to open up our EQ. It comes with the EQ37 band. That's the Pro Tools standard EQ. Click on that, and it should bring us to our EQ. This EQ comes with 5 different bands, and with this, we can pretty much manipulate audio. Our human ears can hear from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, and that's what creates our sample rate. So our sample rate will usually be double that. 20 times 20 times 2 is 40. So 44.1 is where we're going to have our sample rate. All right. 48 is also another one that we can use. Anything higher than that is kind of not even for human ears, but that's what we're working with. All right. Now, like I said, sometimes Pro Tools likes to crash. So you want to save as much as you can. I like to save my projects after I have any complete thought and I apply that thought. So if I want to do this and do this and that, I apply that thought, hit Command S, and that saves that how it is. All right. Otherwise, I would do I will go up top to File. I will go to Save Session As, and I will do save it as that name of that session, version 2 or version 3 or version no drums, version no bass guitar. You know what I'm saying? I would change it according to what I did as the change. All right. Now, since Pro Tools looks like it wants to crash for a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to restart Pro Tools. Let's see. We'll do that real quick. And then we're going to get into this Pro Tools plugins. All right. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below, like, share, subscribe. The Life of a Hopstar virtual tour is going on right now. I'm flooding you guys right now with all types of cool projects. Stay tuned. Let me know what you guys think. Life of a Hopstar Volume 3 is coming soon. All types of cool stories, cool topics, cool dances, all types of cool stuff is going on with that project. Videos, movies, everything. Stay tuned with that. All right. Now, like I was saying, Pro Tools is different than using Fruity Loops, which I have down here, or Machine, or GarageBand. Pro Tools is a DAW and it's professional. You want to keep your work professional. You don't want to use anything off-brand. You want to be able to use it. You want to be able to go to a studio and get right to work. All right. The most important thing is your workflow. The better the workflow, the easier your projects. The more time you have and the less discouraged you get about creating your projects. All right. You can apply this to any type of audio engineering, film, YouTube, shorts, whatever you're making. You can use these simple steps you have. All right. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to open up that EQ one more time and see how it goes. So we were able to get Pro Tools to open up. And like I said, you have your EQ right here. And with this EQ, you have an option, all right, to use a high shelf or a high band, a high bell curve. Same thing with the low shelf or low bell. And pretty much the highs make the sound thinner and higher, sharper. The lows make the sound bigger, boomier, and more muffled. The mids, they kind of control the body of the sound. And if I were to play this sample one more time and adjust the highs, the more up I go, you'll see the gain change. The more lower I go, it will change and it will go negative. Left and right will change the frequency. All right, left would be negative. Left would go lower, right would be higher. And the cool thing about the bell curves is you could change the Q, which is the quality of how much of a cut you have. So how thin or thick that cut is. The thinner it is, the less of the least other frequencies are affected. The thicker, more the other frequencies are affected. Now check this out. When you're doing your boosts and your cuts, you don't want to cut or boost more than about 3 decibels, because if you're doing that, then you have to really think about the sample you're using or whatever you're trying to accomplish, because that's a little bit too much. Now, on the other hand, you could use automation with this, and I'm going to show you automation right now. Let me just play you this sample. And if you can hear the audio, you'll be able to hear the differences when I play with this sound real quick. So a cool thing about this is with the highs, it gets real thin. It kind of hurts the ears sometimes with the lows. You can hear the lows getting real boomy. Right here, you can see the input meter right here. You don't want to see the red clipping. So you can always back off the input or increase the input. All right. After you finish with the EQs, usually you have to increase the output a little bit so that it's back where it's supposed to be. Especially if you're cutting, you want to get it back to where it's supposed to be. If you're boosting, you might want to drop back a little bit. You don't want to be cutting anywhere. Once you leave one specific spot of your plugin, don't go to the next spot with that sound cutting. Because when you get to the end of that sound, the end of your plugin chain, your sound is going to be so muffled and distorted with pops and clicks. Your whole sound, your whole song or whatever you're working on your project is going to sound terrible. You're going to hate your project and you're going to try to figure out for the next 30 to 45 minutes where you went wrong. And it's probably going to be somewhere along your plugin chain. So it's better to mix with a low volume and more so work on exactly the sounds and getting it where you want it to be at a lower volume. Because when you get to the master portion of what you're doing, we can always make the sound super loud. That's not a problem during mastering. But it's during the mixing stage that we cannot fix that. Once you mix, you're stuck with that mix. You can't send a bad mix to a master, to a master engineer and expect them to create some type of gold. That's not going to ever happen. All right. So once you finish your EQ, let me show you something about the EQ that we can do. All right. We can create automation with the EQ. And the way to do that is you go right here. Let's create the factory default. And we're going to create a sweeping sound. What a sweeping sound is, it's going to sound like it's underwater. I'm going to take the high shelf and I'm going to drop it down to 1.80 kilohertz and a -12 gain. I'll never use this. These are not accurate numbers I would use. I would probably just use a lo-fi filter. And I'm going to create the automation by clicking right here. And I'm going to go to high band frequency because I want the band, and I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit add and hit OK because I want the frequency to go like this from left to right as it goes up. So from 1.80 all the way over to 20 kilohertz. The gain is not changing. If I wanted to change the gain, go up and down at the same time, it would look more like this at an angle. I don't want that. I want it straight right to left, left to right. I'm sorry. If I did want that though, like I said, I would go up here. I would change that to, I would add the high band gain as well. All right. And each one corresponds with the name. All right. This is your highs. These are your high mids. These are your mids. These are your low mids. And these are your lows. Now, what I want to do is I want to come right here where it says waveform. I already showed you guys a playlist. There's the markers, volume, volume trim, mute, pan left, pan right. And right here is what we just added, the EQ37 band high band frequency. Right now, it should be at 1.8 down here. If I just get rid of this, or I'll just put this over here, click this red button so it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my grabber tool one more time. And at bar number 5, I want to bring this to the top right here, bar number 5. And I want to sweep it down. Bow. And I want to make it build again at bar number 9. All right. And what I want to do is I want to take this other tool and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to just grab that and duplicate that a few times. Command D. All right. And that pretty much dragged it out to the end. It's Command Z, that one, the last one. And if I press play at the beginning, bring it back to the beginning, it's going to do exactly what I want it to do because that's an automation now. All right. And that's perfect. Exactly what I want. And now I have my first automation. I could take this automation. I can go where it says preset. And I'm going to go to save setting as. And we're going to call this a sweep. This is going to be our sweep. And we're going to call this sweep high sweep. All right. Save. And now anytime I come right here, it's right here. I don't even got to do it again. I can just click high sweep and it will bring us right to this. The automation should be saved and we'd be good to go. The next thing we want to do is I'm going to show you guys how to do this a different way. We're going to do this as a bus, but we're going to use reverb. Command Shift N. We're going to create a stereo aux bus or aux input. And we're going to call this reverb. Pro Tools comes with its own reverb. Once again, hit create. And I like to put my buses at the top, more towards the top of the screen. Now with the bus, it's like bringing your kids to school. When you're using a bus, you drop your kid off on the bus or your little sister off at the bus. You expect them to take that bus to school and that bus back from school. All right, so we're going to use, on this track, our first send. This brings us to the bus. Think of a send as a bus. We're going to hit A, go to bus 1 and 2. Bring the volume up. All right, so now you see the audio going through. All right, so since that is going through, we drop the kid off at the bus. The sound is a kid off at the bus 1 through 2. We're going to have to pick that kid up off that bus at the school. All right, so we're going to go right here to the input and output, which is the input. The kid is going into school off of bus 1 and 2. So now when I play it, it should be playing right here. All right. Very simple theory. Try to remember it like that. It shouldn't screw you guys up. What you're going to do now is we're going to make sure this isn't clipping. All right. It's pretty good right here. Now check this out. We're going to make a bus right here by going right here to the bottom. You see send A, bus 1 and 2. We're going to change the level. You can change the level, the pan, the trim, different things. We're just going to change the level. But before we do that, we're going to add the reverb so we know what we're changing. Reverb, it comes with a deverb. Right here at the bottom, you can see the mix of that deverb. And once this wheel stops spinning, I'm going to save it again because I can see what Pro Tools wants to do. It wants to crash. And I'm not going to do that today, all right? With the reverb makes sound a little bit better. Command S to save. Reverb makes sound a little bit better. Reverb allows the sound to actually echo a little bit or take a longer time to ring away. It's like singing in the shower or singing in a church or wherever any big room like a stadium. It makes that sound just like get damp. So when I play this sound, you're going to hear it right now. As I cut off the sound, you're going to hear it. It echoes out. If you don't hear it, unfortunately, that's because my sound isn't set up for this OBS. It's all right. All right, I'll make another video, and I have made videos about this. All right, just tune into those also. And pretty much what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to leave everything how it is. The decay, I'm gonna leave the wetness right here, diffusion, pre-delay right there, the high frequency cut, the low pass filter, leave everything how it is. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change you could do this with anything. Like I said, we're just gonna create a quick automation. I'm going to change the amount of automation, and we're going to leave this right here at 5. It's going to be the same exact thing we had on the other track. All right. And we're going to drop it down to 0 at the beginning. And we're going to bring it back to 9. And the same thing. So from here, drop down. And now we have the same automation. Bow. We're going to just duplicate that as well. And now we have the same automation we had on the other track. But now it's for reverb. So if I go back to the beginning and I play this track, it's going to have a reverb and it's going to have a send for what we had set up as far as our track EQ. So now it's building and it's going and it's doing its thing. All right, and you can see the automation going up. And if you were in a studio that had a mixing board that could read automation, you would be able to see, you would see the actual faders going up and down by themselves, as long as this says read. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some delay. Let's Command S that again, Command Shift N. So like I said, anytime I get done with a thought and I apply that thought, I hit that Command S. I don't play games when it comes to crashes, and I don't play games when it comes to this work, because when you put in time with your work, you want to get the best out of it, the most out of it. All right, we set up the delay right here. Pro Tools comes with a delay called modulation delay, and with modulation delay we do stereo once again with these buses, because you want to be able to allow your sounds to fill up the space. Music is all about filling space and creating space. If you can create space, space causes emotion, and space causes you to get lost somewhere. You ever been lost in your mind? That's what the space does on these tracks. When you see this right here, you're going to see a left side and a right side. If it's yellow like this, that means that they both link together. What you do to one side applies to the other side. When it's not like that, they work independently. All right. Right here, you have your time delay. You have your feedback. You have your notes you can go by. You can go by certain specific notes. You have some groove you can add to it. Your mix. You have your rate, your depth, your gain. And most importantly, in my opinion, is your low pass filter right here on both sides. When you're doing delay, if you have a low pass filter, you will get the most out of it if you have the right type of low pass filter on your delay, because it will sound like it's actually echoing out. I have certain ones saved because I use delay a lot, and I'm just going to use my Hopstar one. Check out my Hopstar Lifestyle album to hear the delays in the songs. You understand exactly more what I'm talking about. So I have my delay right here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to add the delay, create another bus number 3 and 4 this time. I'm going to bring the volume up on bus 3 and 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that child up off of the bus 3 and 4. So now I got, so you see now you hear the echo ringing out. So it works. The echo works a lot. Now, once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. If there's anything I missed, I'll probably write it in the comment section or make another video. But I think for the most part, I gave you guys the fundamentals that you guys need to get your first project started. I really think I gave you guys everything. Now, if I hit Command equals, I just want to show you guys all the tracks we created will also be right here. Everything we did, it will show right here on the screen. All right. Now, when you're dealing with a master bus, you don't really want to add too much on your master bus because this is a mix. You want to have a raw mix. If you want to add a little bit of a limiter or whatever onto your master, that's cool. But you don't want to. You want to let your mastering engineer, or when you master it yourself, master the mix. Don't master the project mix. Master the full mix. All right. You bounce this out. You go to File. You go to Bounce Mix. You're going to create the name of the sound. Let's say that we call this song Pro Tools Intro. That's the name of the song. We record that in waves, of course. That's the best quality right now. File format, interleaved. So it bounces out stereo. 24 bits cool with me. Sample rate 44.1 perfect. The destination doesn't matter. Offline means you won't hear it as it's bouncing. If you have it like this, you're going to hear it. If you have it like this, that means you won't hear it playing through your speaker or your headphones. All right. You can click import after bouncing. That means that once you bounce it, it's going to import at the bottom of your project. All right. I don't do that, but I'll do it right now. And I'm going to just bounce this real quick. Let's see what happens. I could also add an MP3. Say I was dropping an album or whatever. You could add the MP3, click bounce. It's going to allow you to change the names of your file, the artist, and all of those cool features like that. And I'll show you that real quick. Bounce. And you can add your artist, album, comment, genre. This is perfect if you guys plan on using Serato or any type of software like that. That's perfect for that. All right. I'm going to bounce this. And it's going to import after I bounce it. It's going to show you just like this. I'm going to import this as a new track at the session start. And here we go. This is our new bounce. And if you want to hear it, let's hear it. We could drag it to the bottom so we could hear it down here. And that's how Pro Tools works. That's how you get started with Pro Tools. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. Once again, it's going to help my channel tremendously. Once again, I have to tell you guys, Hopstar Lifestyle is going crazy right now. Check out the Life of a Hopstar album coming soon. Stream Soul Ties, stream Party Tonight, stream Party Like a Rock Star. All of those songs, they're going crazy. Like, just keep going. We're going to vibe out for the rest of this year. Shout out to you guys. I hope you guys enjoy Pro Tools. I wish you guys the best of luck. Any type of questions you guys may have, please let me know down below. Send me an email. It's DJLeeMusic@gmail.com. Until next time, guys, I'm out.